Hi there. So we're back.
Yes, even though I said I wasn't going to be back.
Yes.
I changed my mind. I'm allowed to do that.
We're human.
Yes.
I take off my glasses because I read better when, with my glasses off. So we're back to discuss the second episode of Maid. Do you remember the name of the...
Ponies.
Ponies, yes. How can I forget Ponies? We
episode.
just finished watching it.
Yes.
So, what did you think about it, all in all?
I was trying to explain to my mom after we watched it, like, at first I thought it was gonna be like I was gonna have less emotional feeling to it, but by the end, like, there were so many pieces that were, like, made me feel raw, but also made me laugh that I still had, like, a lot of feeling about it. So it wasn't like, I'm trying to say is, I guess that even though the first episode was so intense, this was intense but in a different way. So, but I still enjoyed it. And she's done so much stuff, like, so much has happened in the second episode, like, even like the first episode, like, so much has happened since the first episode.
Absolutely, yes. I have to say, before we start, I do love Alex. I'm not sure what the name of the actress is, but her expressions, her emotions are all in her face, and I feel like she makes you feel what she's feeling. She's a very good actress. I'm going to have to look up her name. So here we go. We're going to start. I took some notes. And so you see Alex in the very opening where she's at the stage at the bar. Actually, I'm not sure. I think that was a stage, right?
Yeah, some sort of stage.
Yeah, it was some sort of stage, and she's reading, and it's she's sharing.
Wait. Spoilers.
Oh, yes. Spoilers.
Spoilers for the show and trigger warnings about domestic abuse.
Yes, absolutely. I'm always going to write that on the caption.
Well, I feel like in case someone doesn't look, because people...
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yes.
People sometimes.
So anyway, so she's up there on the stage, and she's sharing. And I love how... Is that the oven?
That's the taco shells. I totally forgot I turned it on. They're not in there yet. Sorry.
Oh, no.
We're gonna have tacos today. My fault.
That was the oven beeping if you heard it.
Again.
So, yeah, I love that Alex, was very courageous. And, there weren't that many people in the audience, but I don't know if I could have been that courageous, to share something so personal. And I love that she was so open and very vulnerable. Is there anything you want to say, or should I just continue? Okay. So that's what I noticed. That's what, stood out for me, her vulnerability. And she was very sweet. And first time she sees Sean. So the next scene is when she's back at the ferry terminal, and she's holding Maddie, and Nate, an ex-coworker, shows up at the ferry, and he's offering her help. He's being super sweet, offering her help, and she's turning him down. And then eventually she takes him up on the offer to help. And I just want to say that it's really, really difficult when you're in that position to accept help from strangers. It is not easy. And it is not something that you want to do, but when you have a child, you do whatever it takes to make sure that the child has as much as, as that child can have, a shelter, food, you do what you gotta do. And so you put your ego aside, and you just, you allow people to help you, and you take it graciously. And it's surprising how many people especially strangers, are willing to help and do help. It's just amazing. So yeah, I'm glad that she accepts Nate's help for Maddie's sake. Uh, in our journeys, in our journey, in our journey, we had people who helped. We had family members, who helped as much as they could. They weren't trained to deal with domestic violence, so they would help with shelter. They helped. I had a sister who purchased a ticket for me to leave the situation, and then when I reached her home, we were only able to stay there one night, and because of her husband. And then she took us to a shelter, and I was okay with that. I just needed help leaving my situation. And unfortunately, when I got to that shelter, they really weren't that helpful. Um, they just weren't. I don't know if they were new or they just weren't set up to help me emotionally to make that transition. Um, I will share that it took me 4 times. I left the fourth time, and I kept leaving, and it's not easy. It's not easy to leave a situation that, in a weird way, it's all you know, and you keep going back because you're lied to, you're told that things are going to change, and a part of you hopes so much that things are going to change, but they don't. So it took me 4 times. Um, it's kind of sad when she's thinking about Sean. Actually, no. This is the scene when she's when she's talking to Nate, and Nate has to remind her where she's met him, and she's thinking about that moment when she meets him, but she's not really paying attention to Nate. She's paying attention to Sean, who's behind.
It's not when she meets him. He's talking about when he was talking about school, and then it's blurring because she's not paying attention to what he's saying. She's paying attention to Sean when she met Sean.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, you're right.
Because he was her coworker.
That's true. So yeah.
Because he was telling her, I was in grad school and we worked together, and now he has all this, this business that he's in. What is he, like an engineer?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's, she wasn't paying attention to what he was saying.
That's right.
She doesn't remember.
No, she doesn't remember. Yeah, because she was too busy. So it kind of made me sad because sometimes, when you're young, you make stupid mistakes, and, unfortunately, you like who you like, and the attraction is there, but we always seem to overlook the good guy. That good guy that's right in your face, but you don't see him, you don't recognize him. It's sad to me. So that's what I thought about. Who was in front of me that I didn't see and made the wrong decision. So, anyway, go back to Maid. The next scene, you see Yolanda from Value Maids, and Alex.
This is not chronological order, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
What am I skipping? I wrote here.
You kind of jump back and forth. That's fine. I'm just letting them know.
Oh, well, I wrote here as we were watching the episode. So. Okay.
Because you were talking about how many times, and that was way later in the episode. So just.
Oh, I see. Well, I just kind of.
No, just keep going.
Okay. So the next scene, Yolanda from Value Maids. So Alex goes to pick up to tell her story, to tell her about the car crash to Yolanda, who's her boss at Value Maids, and excuse me. Yolanda's not having it. Yolanda's not sympathetic to her at all, and it makes me sad because Yolanda, Alex was referred to Yolanda from DSHS, so she knows um, what her circumstance is. You know that.
Not necessarily though, because she seemed to have a lot of past experience with criminals and parolees. Because DSH is not just domestic violence victims; it's also a whole load of other people, possibly drug dealers. And it just seemed like she had a lot of experience. Because I think she asked her in that first episode, like, are you on parole or whatever? Do you need something signed?
I agree, but I mean, she's there with her daughter Maddie, and she shows her a picture of the car accident.
I'm not excusing her behavior. I'm just saying, like, maybe she's just had a lot of people who like have duped her before, and she's just,
I'm sure
gotta be stone cold.
I totally agree. But what bothers me is that Alex is trying to tell her what happened, and she's not really listening. She's so like and because of she's dealt with criminals and people like you just spoke about. I get it, but she's just she's put this this wall between her and her employees. Doesn't want to hear it, and so I thought that made me feel bad. This woman who needs her help, and she's trying to and shows her proof about her car, and she's so dismissive about that. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, it's sad because Yolanda had the opportunity to help her, and just chooses not to. I mean, that's the reality. For Yolanda, it's all about money, and that is running a business, But you gotta remember your human side, and that's what I feel like. Yolanda lost her human side, her humanity, her being able to be empathetic and sympathetic. So, okay. At this point, you see, there's a phone call from Sean's attorney, and he's talking to Alex, and Alex is surprised that Sean was able to hire an attorney, and so
I'm sorry, I just remember the first scene wasn't when she was at the bar. It was when she was talking about how she fell through the ice.
Oh, that's right.
I'm sorry. I was like mentally going through everything. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Wow, that's true. I didn't write that. When she talks about falling through the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she was on the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she was on the stage, but we don't see her on the stage, do we?
Yeah,
looks like she's in that apartment.
No. You remember the ending. That's her story. That's what she's reading, and that's when she sees sees Sean.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is like.
It's okay. That's okay.
Keep going.
No, that was great. I told I didn't write that down. Okay, so then Alex receives a phone call from Sean's attorney, and she realizes she's going to court, and so she goes back to the DSH office because she's like, oh my gosh, I need help. So the lady, is giving her options, but it's not really options to her because they don't, as far as Alex is concerned, they don't really apply to her. So,
because she doesn't know any better.
She doesn't, yeah. I think that when she thinks about domestic abuse, like we all do, we think about the physical part of domestic abuse and people getting physically hurt, but we don't think about the emotional, part of it, and the mental part of it. We don't really think about that. So, and that's Alex. Alex is not thinking that she was in a domestic, she was in a violent situation at home. Because she felt that she couldn't relate to that and that wasn't her. So, yeah, they educated her on what exactly domestic abuse is. So, from there, Alex and Maddie are at the shelter, which was really nice to see. Them finally arriving at a safe place. It was so nice, and she has a shelter. Her baby, is gonna live under a roof. There's a nice kitchen. There's a bed. So we think, no more terminal floors for them. So that made me happy, and seeing Alex, in the middle of all this, because this is a horrible storm that Alex is in, and Maddie, because she's so young, she's unaware of the circumstances. Alex is so nice and so patient with Maddie, and And yeah, it just I wasn't always patient with you when that was going on, and I'm sorry about that. I really am. I'm so sorry. I feel like I could have been there more for you. I could have, remember that you were a child. I was so panicky about our circumstances and where we were going to sleep, and where the next, where was I going to get money to feed you and the gas and, just everything. And I'm sorry.
First of all, you're human. And so, not everyone's perfect, There's going to be times when you are nervous, and sometimes you just can't keep it all balled up. That's not healthy. And second of all, this whole thing, I don't know if it took place in such a short amount of time, but she only spent one night that we saw on the floor of a terminal. The night before she was in a car, but it doesn't span, it spans a very short amount of days. And the time that we spent traveling was much longer. So the struggles for money and gas and food and places to sleep were much more difficult because they went on for a longer amount of time. So, to me, what they just show, there wasn't a lot of time for her to be stressed. She was stressed, you could tell, but it wasn't for a long amount of time.
I think that
you're cold anyway.
I know, I'm freezing.
Stop touching me. It's
freezing. I'm cold. Oh, you're so mean.
I'm cold. I don't want you to touch me. Keep going.
So anyway, what I was gonna say is that they can't show everything, and it's a limited series, so they're not gonna show everything,
I know, but I think that's unrealistic. I think that if she had been a longer time, I think she would have gotten, at some point, a little, because everybody gets angry a little at a child. So I'm sure there are parents out there that are screaming to a 2-year-old who's crying, shut up, and then they apologize afterwards. But you're human, right? I'm sure at some point when I was crying, you wanted to strangle me, but obviously you didn't. You just probably yelled and said, stop, that's human. You do it, but what happens after is what matters. And you always found some way to apologize, or to make it better, or to make sure that I wasn't extremely hurt emotionally or physically, it's what happens, it's what you do after the fact, after you make a mistake, that shows the kind of person you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So the next scene, they're in court, and yeah, if you've ever gone to court, it is pretty much how she heard it.
Legal.
And legal. So, yeah. I
Sorry, can I just say that judge? I'm not a judge. I'm a commissioner. Lady, chill. Sorry, I had to say that.
I know. Yeah, someone else who wasn't really sympathetic, and maybe it's because, she is a commissioner, and here's so many, cases and people, and I don't know, I'm thinking that, that's a tough job.
You have to be impartial. That's the major requirement of being a judge or a commissioner, is that you are impartial.
Right. So anyway, the judge orders Maddie. Maddie goes to go with Sean for 7 days.
You didn't mention this. I was going to wait for you to mention this, but Sean had a lawyer.
Yeah.
Alex did not. You never mentioned that.
Okay.
I think that's a really important thing to put out there.
That is so true. No, that is so true.
Because he had representation. He had someone who understood the case.
He had family. And a friend. Yeah, that was harsh to see. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Sorry I touched you. My hands are super cold. Yeah, and she was there by herself, feeling alone. You can tell that there was some animosity coming from Sean's mother.
Some?
When, she had to stay out of the court to take care of Maddie. So, yeah, that was, you know, I'm sure that made um
We're recording. Yeah, you just made a bunch of noise.
Yeah, you're making noise talking to me.
Dana, get out.
Love you, honey.
You too.
We'll chat later. But thanks.
Also, thanks for the Sour Patch Kids.
Holy moly, that's like a year's supply.
I know.
Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Okay, so Maddie. She's feeling alone, and I'm like,
You just have to try this part out seriously, though.
I don't care. I think it's human. Honestly, it's human. Okay, so yeah. I'm sorry. That was a really good point. That she was by herself and not represented, and he had a representation, and because of that, you know,
She had to give up Maddie.
yeah, she had to give up Maddie, and I'm sure that's happened. I know that's happened before because I have a sister who went through something very similar. Where she had no legal representation. But that's the thing though, if you go to court, there's usually a place, and I've seen it, where you can go in there and ask for an attorney
But she
to
was
represent you.
She was not in a good way.
No, she wasn't in a good way, and she didn't have enough knowledge, honestly. She really didn't have enough knowledge. So he ends up, yeah, since she doesn't have proof that, you know, or any proof that Alex, you know,
Was abused.
was abusive, yeah.
Was abused.
I'm sorry, that she was abused. I'm sorry, I was thinking about Sean. Alex has no proof that Sean has abused her, so unfortunately, the judge lets Maddie go with Sean for the 7 days.
And by proof, you know, like police reports or something like that.
Yeah, and so Maddie now has to show that she's in a better place, that she's, you know, in a home, that she's basically providing for all of Maddie's necessities. So she has 7 days to do that.
And you know, I will say this. We get to see Alex's point of view, but the judge only sees facts. So I can't really call her, you know, cold-hearted or anything, because all she can see is that Alex does not have a home. Alex took a child from a man in the middle of the night. She slept in a car. There was a car accident.
Yep.
She has no roof, no job, nothing. And then no evidence of this. So if I heard that story, you know, I can't really say I would do something different.
No, it's true, but the judge could have said, could have asked Alex. I don't think she asked her if Alex had legal representation. You know, and I know, I mean, it's not uncommon. I don't know if in every courtroom there are attorneys there, you know, to represent you, but she could have said, you know what, I want this to be fair. Alex, go here, get yourself represented, you know, court appointed, and then let's reschedule this, you know, or even, you know, even the same day, and let's do this a little bit later. You know what I mean? I just feel that.
I don't know how the legal system works.
Okay, you know what? Neither do I. So I just feel like, you know, she could have said something like that, you know, get yourself represented first. So that's just my opinion.
Because we wish people were better, but maybe that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. And so Alex goes back, and she's, you know, on the carpet, you know, back at the shelter, and she's completely despondent.
Surrounded by those creepy ponies.
Surrounded by the creepy ponies. And you see her there, and if you've been in the same situation, that is exactly, I mean, that's accurate. Even with a child, that's exactly how I felt. Like, what do I do next? Where do I go next? You know, I need help. You know, and so you go numb. Honestly, you just go numb. And luckily, you know, Alex has Danielle, who's a neighbor who lives upstairs, and Danielle comes and starts motivating Alex to kind of snap out of this fog that Alex is in because she lost Maddie. And okay.
So I just wanted to know how long you were going to take, because I have questions too. And we said we weren't going to spend like half an hour on this anymore. We were going to talk about the whole damn episode.
I'm sorry. You have questions?
No, it's fine. But just next time maybe like make it a little more concise.
Oh, okay. I'll do that. That's fine. Okay.
She just talks a lot.
I do talk a lot. I took a lot of notes. Sorry. So they go to the open house. Alex Alex and Danielle. You want to take this one? Oh,
Sure.
They go to the open house.
They go to the open house, and Danielle's a firecracker.
She is.
Is not afraid, and Alex is like, Alex is like, I'm loud.
Okay. What? Jeez, I said louder.
I'm loud. You can hear me.
Remember we talked about projecting?
I know. I'm
Okay.
talking.
Okay, girlfriend, chill.
Look what you've done. I don't know what I was gonna say.
Firecracker, Danielle.
Yes, Alex doesn't want to be there because she doesn't want to go and get the money from the lady Regina, the woman she cleaned the house of. And Danielle's like, well, we're just gonna pop in, and see, what's up. And so they go into the open house, and she tells Alex to distract the agent of the house, and she's saying some weird stuff like, there's a roof. These walls are big and strong, like something I would say. And then
sarcastic.
Well, not even sarcastic. She just looked like she had no idea what to say.
No, she was stating the obvious.
Well, she was stating the obvious because she can't lie.
It was funny.
She was very awkward. But Daniel comes back. She says, "Let's go." So they leave. Her and Alex go back into the car. They're driving, and basically what happens is Danielle stole the lady's dog. She stole Regina's dog. It's in the back seat in her purse. And that's my tea, thanks.
You want some?
Sure.
I'm
just take a
thirsty.
sip break. We're in the middle of a video.
I know, but I'm thirsty. Just drink. We're
Sorry.
human. Hello. You've been saying that all along.
Look at more videos if you want to hear us drink more. But yeah, so she stole her dog. And so what Danielle's trying to do is basically have Alex call Regina and come get her dog in exchange for what? $37.50? But to her it's huge. She has nothing.
Exactly.
So every little penny counts. To us it sounds ridiculous, and even to Danielle she was like, I could Venmo you that. But it's the principle of the thing. And so she calls Regina, the dog. Regina's like, you stole my dog? For why? Like, I'm gonna call the police. And Alex just, I don't know if she just loses it.
Yeah. She goes off on her.
She goes off on her, and she tells her to go F herself because the money that she didn't get paid, she wasn't able to keep her daughter because she had no money to give her a roof over her head. Yes. So she's just angry from the past events that she just unleashes on her.
Yeah.
And so,
That was so good.
It was really good to see.
Yep.
See her, fight. Because there's been points where I, especially, later on in the episode we'll talk about, when I'm just like, come on. I wish you had done something else because I feel like, I don't know. But I feel like, I would have fought harder. And so seeing her fight for that was good to see. That she had some fire.
Yeah, it was a moment of empowerment. No, good. You're doing good.
Well, this is kind of about you. I have not experienced any of this.
No, but, okay. Well, I'm just saying. This gives you a chance to talk. Okay, because, and then Alex goes into, tries to go visit Maddie, but then Sean's mom is there and does not allow Alex to see Maddie at all. And I don't know if she did this or not, but I'm sure she did. She told Alex that she gave Maddie Robitussin, and then Maddie's already in bed by 5:45.
And she's 2.
Yeah, which to me means that she gave her Robitussin pretty much, so that she can get rid of poor Maddie, put her to bed, and she can, smoke and watch whatever she's watching. So that was pretty upsetting.
Wait, I just want to say, and Alex just left. I feel like, I wish she'd fought harder to see Maddie. I wish she'd been like, well, I'm just going to pop in. This is my child. The court mandates that I get to see my child with third-party supervision, so let's go.
I know. I feel the same way. I just think that, the mother being the mother could have said, call the cops and accuse Alex of, storming into the house.
And call Danielle and get her to come with,
I know. I wish that she would have said, Danielle, come with me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I would have done 100%, especially knowing that the mother is there, because,
Well, she didn't know the mother was there. She thought that maybe Sean was there.
Well, she knows that Sean works, so
She doesn't know anything.
that's true. That is true. Um. So anyway, so we go back. She goes back to the shelter after this, and she wants to talk to Danielle.
No, no, no. You skipped a large part.
What did I skip?
You skip. Okay, she went to bed first of all, but then she wakes up. She goes has her morning coffee. She's got her phone,
Yes.
and she finds out that Regina paid the maid service, and
Yes.
so Yolanda's telling her
Mm-hmm.
to come and pick up her check. So then she wants to see Danielle and tell her the good news.
Right. Okay, so just finish that.
Fine. So she goes. She's running back, and she goes upstairs to try and tell Danielle the good news. And we find out that Danielle has left the shelter. And we know this because the lady who I guess is in charge of the shelter,
Mm-hmm.
Alex goes and confronts her about where Danielle has left, and she tells her that she's left, and then she asks her where'd she go, and it's implied that she went back to her husband or her ex-husband,
Her previous situation.
Yeah. With her son, and she tells us that most women it takes 7 tries, and that I think this was Danielle's 3rd time or 2nd time going to the shelter. And so she went back, and we saw too during that episode that he was calling her, and you could kind of see her just kind of coming apart a little bit, like not having the strength to deny him. She answers the phone, but it's the things that we don't see. Like you can tell her mood goes down too. Like after that first phone call, she's just a little more subdued, and then he calls her again in the car when she's leaving Alex. All we can do is imply.
Mm-hmm.
Or let it imply that phone call, he convinced her to come home.
That is exactly it. They, call after call, wearing you down. That is exactly what happened. I wasn't sure if you were going to see that.
I'm a college student, and so right now I do a lot of analyzing. So I've been kind of, in a way to distance myself from emotions, I've been taking it apart analytically.
Okay.
So it's helped a little bit. And that's why I was able to do this video, is because I'm supposed to let it hit me emotionally, but I'm also trying to look at it from a totally different perspective. And I feel like maybe to understand you better as well.
Okay. So at the very end, unless I'm mistaken, Alex recounts when she told Sean that she was pregnant. Oof, that was hard.
To the ponies.
Yeah, she was talking to the ponies. She was, recollecting, when she told Sean that that she was pregnant, and how his initial reaction was, I'll hold your hand, and I think that he was saying all this because he thought that she was going to agree to have an abortion. So he was willing to be there for her if she got an abortion. But that wasn't her choice, and when she told him that she was going to keep the child, then he became abusive. He threw her out. He took all her belongings and threw her out.
In the rain.
And as she said, she's been afraid ever since.
Yeah, he never forgave her for that.
Yeah, and he never forgave her for pretty much stealing his plans for himself.
His youth.
Yeah. Okay, so we've discussed the show. What questions do you have for me, hon?
Okay, let me see this because I kind of forgot my questions because you talked forever.
Well, you could have interrupted me and asked me then, if you want to do that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I just need to
Okay.
go through this. Okay, the first question I think I had was like thinking about her at the station. Like, what was our lowest point? Like, yesterday I asked about the lowest point of money, but what was our lowest point just in general?
Ooh, wow. Our lowest point. Our lowest point was when we were in San Diego. We got there. I was running out of money. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you remember that it's not like we stayed at hotels. So we stopped a few times at Walmart, and you know, we kind of cleaned ourselves with washcloths and soap and brushed our teeth at the Walmart, trying to be careful not to be seen doing those things. Yeah, when we first got there, um, yeah, that's what it was like. Sleeping, I had a phone, so I was looking for where the nearest police station was. So we slept right across the street. Not across the street. I'm sorry. We slept,
In the station
in
parking
the
lot.
in the park. Yeah, in the parking lot. And so, yeah, I was running out of money, and that's what we did. We did. So that was the lowest.
Did you have a phone while we were doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was just wondering because you mentioned something about time or whatever. Oh, and okay, another question. I don't remember when because I was young. When were we traveling? Were we traveling in the summer, the school year? Because I wondered, like, I never asked, like, how did if I was during school, did I, like, miss school?
Um, Let me see. That year, yes, you did miss school for about a week. Um, we left on Christmas.
We left Iowa? Yes, we left Iowa during Christmas.
We left Iowa during Christmas, and you were 7,
Yeah.
so school wasn't really that important. I'm sorry, you probably missed 2 weeks of school because it took us quite a while to get there, and then for me to get, myself, my bearings, and all the help that I needed.
Yeah.
So you probably missed 2 weeks. Um, you went in as first grade, and that was the year that you got bumped to, in the middle of first grade, you got bumped to the second grade because you were smart.
So, yeah, it's interesting because I wondered, like, maybe if it had impeded my learning, but then I remember that, yes, it
No.
had impeded my learning.
Nope.
But you also did teach me a lot before I even got to school. So I had previous knowledge.
Yep.
What was it like trying to find a job?
Honestly, trying to find a job. So as you know, we got lucky. Like, we got super lucky. When we were in San Diego, we went to this giant church, and we asked for help at the church, but the church would not help us. So the lady,
Let's call her B.
hmm,
Let's call her B.
yeah, we'll call her